So this morning, shortly after 5 a.m., the New Haven State's Attorney's Office contacted and requested the assistance of detectives from Central District Major Crime Squad to assist in the officer-involved shooting, which occurred here in the city of New Haven. This stems from an incident that originated in the town of Hamden. At approximately 4:19 this morning, Hamden Police Department received a 911 call in regards to an attempted armed robbery which occurred at the Go On gas station in their town. The victim in this incident was a newspaper delivery man, which indicated that the suspect involved in this incident had an unknown weapon. According to initial reports, the suspect fled the scene in what was described as a red Honda Civic. Shortly thereafter, officers from Hamden Police Department were able to locate that vehicle here behind me at the intersection of Dixwell and Argyle Street. Officers from Yale PD arrived on scene, and both officers attempted to block the vehicle in an attempt to make contact with the suspected party. While attempting to make contact with that party, the suspected party exited the vehicle in an abrupt manner, turned towards officers, at which point officers fired at least one round at the suspect. During the course of the incident, the female passenger in the red Honda Civic, which was seated in the front passenger section, was struck at least one time in the lower torso. Medical attention was rendered there on scene. The front seat passenger was later transported to Yale New Haven Hospital, where she is currently listed as stable condition. Like I said, as any officer-involved shooting, this is an active and ongoing investigation. A lot of the information pertaining to this particular incident is still coming in, so therefore we'll be extremely limited in terms of what we can release right here on scene. However, there will be a press release sent out shortly, later this afternoon, with a bit more information.
Trooper, I just watched video from one of the homes here that showed a very clear shot of the officer from Hamden pulling up, getting out, coming around to the passenger side of the vehicle, and within seconds fires upon the car. The video does not show anyone trying to get out or any action that would lead to this type of response. Can you be more specific about what exactly happened in the moments just before the shots were fired?
Absolutely. Like I stated earlier, the officers attempted to make contact with the driver, the suspected individual that attempted the armed robbery. That individual exited the vehicle in an abrupt manner, at which point officers engaged in gunfire.
Okay. Is there any doubt that this car and those individuals in that car are tied to this supposed robbery? Because there is some dispute about that.
Based off of the information that was relayed to Hamden's Police Department, this vehicle matched the description of the vehicle that was provided to dispatchers.
Okay, but there's been no positive ID that this car was the one from the alleged robbery. It's just that the description of the vehicle matched whatever that description was in that particular incident.
There's a lot of factors that go into identifying a vehicle that matches, whether it be the make and model, the license plate. All those factors get taken into account, and when those officers identify the vehicle as the suspected vehicle fleeing the scene, that's what led them to the determination to attempt to stop and make contact with the operator.
You said earlier that it was suspected that this suspect had a weapon. Was there a weapon visible at the time, and is simply turning around abruptly, in your experience with police training, is that enough to warrant the pulling of a trigger?
At this point, there is no weapon that was located. Investigators are still working to comb through the vehicle. A detailed search of the vehicle has not been conducted yet. However, we're still working to do that. In terms of the actions of the officers attempted to verbally indicate or verbally give the accused directives to hop out the vehicle in a peaceful manner, show one's hands. That those directives weren't being adhered to.
But this question is for Chief. But Chief, there are a number of residents in this area who are very concerned about Hamden officers. I mean, this is the second or third incident where your officers have crossed over into New Haven. What is going on? Why are your officers coming over into New Haven? Why did they call New Haven for assistance? Why does this keep happening?
I'm not going to comment on the investigation. It's under investigation. Internal affairs investigation will be conducted. and we'll have to wait for the outcome of that. That's as much comment I'm going to have at this point.
Can anybody speak to whether
because
New Haven was contacted?
because it is a officer-involved shooting involving multiple agencies, state police was called in to assume the investigation. So therefore, whether state police nor Yale PD nor Hamden PD is at liberty to release much information right now. Any information moving forward as it relates to this particular incident will be delivered from us.
Can you tell us any basic information about this police officer, perhaps his name or his service record? Does he have any previous disciplinary issues? Because we're in the beginning stages of this investigation, as far as the names of the police officers involved and the passenger and/or suspect involved isn't going to be released right now. He's been put on desk duty, I'm assuming.
As it relates to any officer-involved shooting, officers involved are going to be placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation.
Now, how did we get from Hamden to New Haven? Was there some form of a pursuit? I know that it was like the car was located here. Was there a chase? How did you guys go from, Hamden to New Haven?
Well, Hamden is fairly close to New Haven. It's a few miles away. In terms of how we arrived here at this location, we're still working to obtain some of those facts and circumstances. We'll take two more questions.
Did officers from both Hamden and Yale fire shots, or was it just one officer? It was one.
Officers from both departments fired rounds at the vehicle.
And where did my question just go? I don't remember it now.
Anything about the names of the suspects or what they're charged with, what they were arrested for?
In terms of the identity of the suspect, as stated earlier, the identity of the suspect won't be released at this point, nor will the identity of the officers and/or front seat passenger. That will be disseminated.
Charges, though.
As far as charges, that will be released at a later date as well.
Back at the robbery scene, the person...
Sorry, that was the second question, correct?
Okay. Well, just as far as ambulance goes, when was that called? Because we saw another video that it seemed like it kind of took a while, and it seemed like this woman was just here,
Medical attention was provided immediately after the shots were fired. Ambulance as well was called. In terms of the exact time frame of how long it took for the ambulance to arrive on scene, I can't provide that information right now, but again, that information will be provided later.
When can we expect another update, Trooper?
Later on this evening.
Okay.
All right? Thank you so much.
The person who was being held up, did they see any weapon?
Excuse me, sir?
The person who was being held up or robbed, did he see any weapon or she see any weapon?
As far as more facts and circumstances pertaining to this incident, it will be released later, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.